Hey guys, Marvy Techs. We know that we got to do a lot of electrical diagnostics on these modern campers. It's a big part of the job. So today I'm just going to go over um, some of the stuff that I use. I'm focusing in on the leads because I did get a question on about a back probe. So some of these things I don't remember the brand, but I'll do my best to tell you um, where I got it from. But I'll show you what I got, what I've been using, what's been working for me, and you can see if you want to add any of this to your arsenal. It's all good stuff, and some of it's pretty cheap, some of it's really expensive. So on my meters, these are my main meters. I have other meters, but these are my main meters. So this I grabbed first. This is my main meter. If I need a clamp, or if I'm doing air conditioning work, I'm gonna get this meter. And if I feel like I need something like really accurate, and I'm testing like really small stuff, in the milliamps, millivolts, things like that, I'm gonna use this meter. And this meter is also an all-around good meter. It's an 87.5 by Fluke. It's one of the classic OG meters. They're pretty expensive. This 377 FC is pretty expensive too. I mean, all of these meters are up there in price. This one would be the cheapest. I think this is like between $200 and $300. These 2 meters are like around 600 plus for these meters over here. So they're a little more pricey. So depending on how you get them with the kit, like I got this one in the kit and stuff, costs a little more. So this is my meter setup, and I find this to be the most advantageous for easy working condition. Of course, this is my low Z meter, the Fluke 117 true RMS meter, and I like to have my meter set up with these AST Lab bed of nails alligators. They have a lot of features. They got that spike for the big wires, bed of nails for the smaller wires, and then the clip with the teeth in it for like bare wires, or if you're just clipping onto something and you need to bite in. That's gonna be a good the springs are really heavy in these, very strong. And then on the positive side, I like to keep a back probe. These are the cheap back probes. You can get these from Harbor Freight. They'll come in a kit. I throw away the packaging. I keep all my like extra stuff in this pack out, but it'll be a plastic box, and they'll have this and some wires like that in it, like some little alligator extensions and stuff like that. So you can get a set of these type back probes from Harbor Freight. The really good back probes, like I have on my 377 FC, these back probes, they're either electronic specialties or I got them off of Zorro. You can tell these ones because they'll have this shiny piece of like I don't know, it's like a shiny vinyl heat shrink type, and they're made to where you can bend them. They're intended to be bent. Like you can shape them to get into different connectors, and you can bend them a lot, and it doesn't break them from going back and forth. So these are the best back probes. Like I said, I got mine off of Zorro. I think Lau makes a set of flexible back probes, but the Lau ones are not these. These ones, they're either electronic specialties or something else that's on Zorro. So if you do a search on Zorro for back probes, you'll see a bunch of different ones. And when you see the one that has like this funnel shaped shiny thing on the end, that's it. I can't remember the brand. It's a different name that's not like a household name. So and as I told you, the other beauty of having these AST Labs is they fit perfectly into the ground port of an electrical outlet, and that's going to give you a nice solid ground. You got to have a nice solid ground. So these are key. Now, if I'm in the battery compartment and I need to go into a stud, these fluke ones, these are better, you know, for that situation, to where I can go around a lug, a terminal, something like that. Now, in this case, I also keep my other one. So if I'm using this kit and I have to get into a situation like that, I'll use these fluke alligators because they're super wide. So if I got to get on something big, and then if I want to change categories, these twists to change the category from category 3 or whatever. I think these are the twist ones, and they you can change the category by putting the insulation over, by twisting them. So I keep those in here along with these alligator ones. So I know the fluke stuff is pricey, bro. I know. But I have good luck with them. They're high quality leads, and I like using them. Now, what goes back here is like for high voltage. We don't really get into that much as RV techs. You know, we're not doing 3-phase power. We're not working with 600-700 volts, 1,000 volts. But this is that. It needs to be in there. But like I said, I'm still straightening stuff out. But this is what goes in this side. I just hit that thing again. Happens all the time. I'm trying to find a way to raise this toolbox up a foot. So this connector goes with this one, and let's see. So that's for like high amperage. It goes up to 2,500 amps. So high amperage, but I have used it in tight breaker box where I didn't want to disconnect any wires, and I needed to loop around the wire, and my amp clamp was just like too fat to do it. I did use this, but I don't like doing that because this thing is like really rated for high voltage. 1,000 volts, 600 volts, 2,500 amps. But it is nice to be able to twist this thing some kind of way and it can come off. See if I can set you up here. Yeah, you twist that and you can take this out so you can get around the wire and whatnot. So that's what that's for. I need to clean it up and put it back in. This case is where it goes. It's a part of this meter. It came with this meter. But like I said, I don't really do a lot of high voltage. It's long like that because when you're working with high voltage, like you don't always want to be like right at the cabinet. You know, the thing can arc and spark, and you know, as you're turning on breakers and stuff. So, you know, but that's what that's for. But like I said, it does come in handy having a flexible lead like that, to where you can snake it around wires without taking wires loose or bending them up too much in the breaker box when you're trying to get you can't get your clamp on it because the box is so tight. So it comes in handy. All right, so we got the back probes, the AST Lab, the really good back probes, the normal back probes, which are fine. It's just that you have to use the one that you need. So you get a straight if you need a straight, you get a 90 if you get a 90, you get a 45 if you need a 45. Whereas these just bend and you can just make them into anything, which is why I use them, because I like, you know, having that universal type back probe to where I can make it work for whatever situation I'm in. All right, these are thinner. So if you got a really, really tight connector, I mean, this isn't that thick. This is like very good size, but these are even thinner. You know, the needles on these are even thinner. So that's where those little, but you can't send any current through that. It's gonna melt it immediately. you know, it's not going to take it. You shouldn't be sending current through a small little back probe like that anyway. I have back probes for sending current through, and they're in this kit. This I normally keep on one of my, this is a TR1 that goes on my electrical bag, and in it I have double banana, so I can put that in the meter and then I can put something else behind it. It has double banana jacks on both ends for that, and I use those routinely for activating motors, messing with Schwintek, Slimrack, stuff like that. They hold up, they're silicone. And then these are just some of the more heavy duty back probes. So like you can see, like that's pretty good. That's really thick. And I use these a lot back probing motor harnesses to run slides out and stuff like that, and they hold up. I've never had a problem. Also, they have removable tips. The tips screw in, and in this other bag I have something else that can be really handy for you. These are magnetic leads, so you can put that on a connection and it just magnetically holds if it's a ferrous material. And then here are the replacement back probes. So that they're a very good heavy gauge, sharpened to a point so they get real fine for your tight work, but thick enough in the body to where it can handle sending, you know, a few amps of current through it, no problem. It doesn't tear up. And the other thing I have in here is just the a dedicated set of alligator leads. They're all built in. I don't remember where I got these from, but it goes directly in the meter, and then alligators on the so you notice I use a lot of alligator, and that's because when you get a good ground, you don't really want to lose it. So I like to find a good ground easily. If I got to go with a chassis ground or something like that, alligator clips are just like one of the best things to do that with. So, and even if I'm clipping onto a ground wire, you know, the copper ground wire, you know, I want something that's just going to stay there. So again, alligator clips. I don't use them too much on the positive side, because on that side, I'm normally needing a probe, a standard probe, or a back probe. So again, I like using the fluke leads that don't have any probes built in. You have to add the probe, whether you're going to go with back probe or a standard probe. You know, something like this, which is a standard fluke probe. I would probably use the red one. Like right here, I keep all my extra stuff, my extra electrical leads and stuff in this pack out. So I could go with this guy, which is pretty much how I'd be using these meters, okay? I don't think the cap comes off of this one. I think this is like a certain category lead, and it's just it's a Cat 3, and typically these caps will come off. Maybe it's just tight. It probably can come off, but when I leave this one set up like this anyway for working inside control boards and circuit boards where I can't afford for this to hit the nearby components. Speaking of control boards and circuit boards, you will need other kits like this, which allow you to grab onto like something on the board, like an EEPROM, or just say you got a resistor or capacitor or something that's attached to a board, and you just need to clip onto it. That's what this guy is for. So I have a couple of those leads in here as well. Temperature probe, I don't really use that. I got a dedicated meter for that. And here's your K-type. You know, this goes with that thermocouple. So, you know, you can, I think on this meter, on one of these meters, you can use that thermocouple. This one, 87.5. You see it has a temperature right there. You can use a thermocouple adapter for that. But I have other meters that I use that are set up for temperature, and that's what I use it for. And I have some dedicated temperature meters, and that's all I use this for. All right. Ooh, that thing is sharp, bro. That's why I try to keep the caps on it. The little plastic caps, because those back probes are so fine and so sharp that happens a lot. It's literally like a needle. So I try to keep the caps on them. I try to keep up with the little plastic caps on these so that doesn't happen. Okay, so I would say that's the basic stuff, right? Here's some other stuff in here which you may like. That doesn't look like diagnostic, but it is. And there's even more leads in here, some relays, you know, more double banana jacks. This stuff really needs to get organized into the pack out kit, because I'm trying to consolidate where stuff is. But double banana jacks, these help out good. These are just Amazon special, and they work well. I send power through them, and they hold up. So I definitely like the double banana jacks. This was not a 90-degree pearl. We got like that in the wreckage. This is some stuff that I recovered from the wreckage. Some of it's still good. So I'll sort that out in a bit. But this, guys, this will help you out a lot. This is quick, easy. It's a 50 amp, and it takes you down to, 4 outlets. And what I use this for, there's a lot of things you can use it for, but what I use it for is if somebody's calling with power issues, if I go and I check an outlet and it's got like 60 volts on a 110 outlet, I'm seeing low voltage or high voltage or something like that. This allows me to test both legs of the 50. So I plug this in a 50 amp receptacle, and I take my outlet tester. I use a digital Klein that has, it tells you what it is: open ground, open neutral, reverse, hot, neutral. It's a digital one, and it tells you what the problem is. I use that on each leg, and the legs are color coded green and red to make sure my power at the pedestal is good. This is the quickest, easiest way to test your pedestal power. I can also compare voltage between the legs and frequency, because if you got bad power, bad frequency coming out, that can mess stuff up too. So, we're looking for that 60 hertz. So there's that one. And then I got different adapters for if I have to. So if I determine that I do have a bad leg and I got to get the customer going, well, what I'll do is I'll use an adapter like this, and I have different ones that will give me leg 1 or leg 2. And I'll use the one that gives me the good leg so that they can use dog bone, break it down to a 30 amp, and have some power until they can get with park management, so they can get that power fix. Because normally the people don't want you messing with their power like that. So, and then I have a 50 down to a 15, 30 different adapters for like emergency situations. And I might go and I need to test something. They don't have any shore power, but all they have is an outlet, but they don't have the reducers and stuff, so I keep those. But this one, definitely want to get you one of these. Like I said, Amazon special on that. Easy way to make sure to really test your pedestal power really quick and easy. All right. That's just a DC probe. Bought this from Harbor Freight. Just like thought it was cool. Little amp draw tester. This old school probe, and this is actually a stud finder that got kind of ruined in the wreckage. Don't know if it still works or not. It's kind of busted up, and the battery came out. I'll have to put a 9-volt battery in there and test that. All right, so I would still say this is like the basic stuff, right? So moving on to 30 to 15 that fell out. To some of my, getting a little more advanced, all these meters, of course, are good for everything. Not everything, but like all around high quality meters. That's why I use them. But when I have to interface with a lot of different stuff, that's when I start using a lot of these different probes and stuff. So this is a kit that you may want to consider buying, especially if you work on a lot of high-end coaches. You got a lot of logic control and a lot of these coaches. In this case was sturdy. It got a little beat up and it's got a little torn, but it survived the crash. This is the AES Wave kit. And this is like more advanced. You're chasing down, all different types of stuff, reference, 5-volt reference, your CAN bus, pretty much anything. You can interface with all the different Molex connectors. And this is getting to be more and more standard, guys, because of all of the electronics that are in the feature-rich coaches, and you're getting into the mid 600, 200 grand, 300 grand, 400 grand up coaches. They're going to have a lot of different connectors that run everything, even the simplest things like a toilet. So you're going to have to be able to interface without tearing up that wiring, because you can't mess up the people's stuff while you're trying to do a diag, because what you're looking at might not even be the problem. So you go, sticking back probes in of varying sizes and widths and, widening out connections, you're causing more problems. So what I like to do, and this also allows you to do drag testing, is I find out what the size is of the connector that I'm dealing with, and then I have it in here. And then I can interface with that and go to my meter, you see, using like a double banana jack. They also give you double leads here, so it's easy for you to take a back probe, hit that, and then this part goes to your meter. It has male and female on both ends. So this I've used, and it's really helped me. It's one of those things that you may not pull it out every day, but more and more you'll be pulling it out more and more with these, like I said, with these coaches, especially if you're into chasing down a lot of DC. This is low voltage stuff. This is DC. These are DC tools right here. And it's a really robust kit. It has a lot of stuff in it. But I mainly bought it for all of these. And they got stackable, so you can turn pretty much anything to double banana jack, plus you can tap into it with your different meters and stuff. That's very handy. Heavy duty piercing probes. Heavy duty, bro. Like, you're going to hit wire with that. Kind of like attenuating variable resistor, so you can set it to different things. Some standard meter leads. It also has standard meter leads in there. And you do have some flexible back probes in here. I mean, this is a pretty, and I mean, it's super fine, bro. Like, whew, that is even finer tip than the cheap ones that you can get. And you will bleed if that hits you. Super fine. Camera won't even do it justice. And now I have to try to find that little cap that just came off of it. Here it is. Super sharp. Okay. So this is a great set, guys. I recommend it. If you do a lot of electrical diagnostics, you need this kit. These are the kits that help you, as I say, diagnose stuff, old school, to where, you're pulling out the schematics, you're going to the right spots, taking your measurements, checking your resistances, your voltage. And I do send current through these, and they hold up. I said when I first got this that I was going to do that. I do that quite a lot, and they hold up. If they didn't, I would not recommend the kit, because if this thing can't handle 5 amps of current, then this is a garbage kit. But they can, and I have done it routinely, and I hadn't had a problem with any of it. So it's kind of set up for automotive. Like, they don't really make stuff specifically for RV industry. You got some guys coming out like Skill Above who's making some stuff, but like these mainline kits and tools and stuff like that, they're for another industry, and then we're finding it so we can use it. So this is an awesome kit. This is something you want to have. It's like $300. It took me a while to buy it, but I'm glad that I did, because when you're trying to string together a bunch of stuff like that and different back probes, and it's moving and you're getting different readings and stuff because you don't have a solid connection, when you could have went on to that connector, whether it's male or female, with the exact connector, it makes a big difference, guys. It makes a big difference. So take your diagnostic game up to the next level. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't buy all this stuff all at once if you're just starting out, but as you get deeper in the game, you'll be buying this stuff. Of course, Power Probe, but this is the Autel version. So it's the Power Scan. This got kind of messed up in the wreckage, and I lost the probe. So I took that probe out of this other Power Probe kit that I had, and I got an extra wire. Line splitter. This is good when you're troubleshooting 110, and that comes in handy, especially if you got tripping breakers and you know where the outlet is and whatever, and you want to see what a device is pulling. Maybe they got something plugged in that is just pulling too much. Got the Lao relay tester. I mainly use this on motorhomes, but there's I don't see a lot of relays in the travel trailers that are like standalone relays like you would find in a motorhome. Motorhomes have a lot of travel trailers, not so much. Parasitic, I think this is like a parasitic draw tester activator type kit. It's fused, it's kind of built in. So this is like that Lao master relay kit, and it has everything you need, man. I mean, it's nice because you plug this into the relay, you put the relay in here, it's still in play, and now you can test, all of your different pins, and they're labeled. So your main voltage is on 30, and you know what I'm saying? It's a really good kit to have. Stuff that saves you time, saves you money, and helps with a more accurate diagnosis, because when you're not getting frustrated and you can diagnose this stuff, complicated electrical issues, correctly, because you have the correct equipment, you can do it easily. You can do it correctly without having all this stuff. But man, trying to back probe a relay while it's in there might be a little sketchy. You can do it, but I rather have the kits. So you can see that this one's missing because it's right here. So that's where I took that for my power probe, because I'm missing that lead. I'll see if I can order a replacement probe. This is a really nice kit. It's called the ECT 3000. Hands down the best single wire DC short open finder. It really works. I've saved a lot of time and headache with this tool, guys. You want this tool. That transmitter and everything, this is a sweet deal right here. And then it has some light bulb testers. You know, like I said, a lot of stuff is like automotive. They didn't have the RV industry in mind when they made it, but that's okay. We use it anyway. That's not gonna go. I'll find a way to close this up later. So those are the main kits that I'm using. There's other stuff, but I just want to show you the main stuff, guys. I also use like USB testers. I use the Klein ones. You'll run across that in newer campers. You don't know if the USB port is working. Sometimes they wire those up wrong, or the thing fails, and instead of 5 volts, it's putting out 12 volts. So you definitely want to use a USB tester. This is a battery load tester, and then this meter, which just has the standard leads on it. And I just keep these leads on this one because this is a waterproof meter. And the waterproofing to get it to the IP rating is only if you use their leads, which are designed to fit in here in such a way that it makes the seal with the gaskets and stuff that's built into the lead. So this is a triplet, and this is a good meter, guys. Has low Z. That's big. This is a good meter. When I gotta work in the rain, I get these. Those fluke meters do not like water. Ask me how I know. You're out in the rain, troubleshooting tankless water heater, and it's raining, and you got your meter out there, especially something like that 87.5. Well, get ready to buy another. Don't say I didn't warn you. They do not like the water. They can't get wet, man. Those meters cannot get wet, which is why I bought this meter. And I keep it in reserve until I'm working in the rain, and then I'm pulling out this meter. So that's it. Just consider it. Maybe these are some tools. And I know the tools don't matter if you don't know how to use them. So, you got to get some experience on this. I do have videos showing me using a lot of this stuff. I like to highlight the tools when I'm doing videos so that you can not just see all the nice tools and stuff, but you can see me using them so you can use them. All right. So that's what we got, guys. I'm going to get cleaning up and doing some other stuff that I got to do, but I wanted to get this video out to you about the electrical tools, testing, measurement tools, stuff like that. So that's what we got. I'll catch you later. RV Tech Pro out.